Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you all for tuning in. So tonight we're going to do another 2023 recap. I think this will be the third and final one that I do. I'm not sure what order I'm going to post these in, but I also did videos for my 10 favorite albums released in 2023. I did my favorite album discoveries of 2023, and this one's just kind of a fun thing. On Facebook, I'm part of a Collective Soul fan group, and people started posting their Spotify year in review stats, like the 5 artists they listened to the most and the top 5 songs and whatnot. And I thought that was kind of fun and pretty cool. I remember looking at mine last year, and I didn't. If I remember correctly, I think Blondie won for me last year, and my number one song was "Dreaming" by Blondie, but I don't remember the rest of the top 5. So I thought it'd be fun to sort of do a recap video, and I'm going to give you my top 5 songs and top 5 most listened to artists according to, I use YouTube Music, I don't use Spotify, so my YouTube Music top 5s. I thought this would be a lot of fun. So according to YouTube Music, at least during my listening experiences on the app, coming in at number 5 was Genesis. This would have been primarily probably earlier in the year when I was in a big Genesis kick. I'm kind of surprised that Genesis topped Phil Collins. I would have thought that I probably listened to Phil Collins solo material more than Genesis, but Genesis won out and made the top 5. I listened to a lot of their stuff earlier in this year. I was really digging into their back catalog a lot. Listened to a lot of those albums for the first or second time, and the more 80s stuff, the stuff I was a little bit more familiar with, of course, listening to that a lot as well. So it makes sense to me that Genesis would have made my top 5. Like I said, I'm kind of surprised that they did beat out Phil Collins solo, because I thought I probably listened to that more this year, but Genesis did hold on to the number 5 spot, despite the fact that most of the Genesis I listened to was probably earlier in the year. Coming in at number 4 was Big Country, another band that was a little bit earlier in the year for me when I was listening to these guys a lot. Great band. Coming into this year, the only thing I really knew from them was The Crossing, so all the other albums that I've listened to since then have been on YouTube Music, and I have listened to a lot of them. I've since picked up Buffalo Skinners and Why the Long Face, 2 of my favorite Big Country albums. Great albums, but I've listened to The Seer a lot on the app, and Driving to Damascus, No Place Like Home, and of course these great albums that I own as well when I'm at work or whatever. So a lot of Big Country. Not really surprised that they hung on to be in my top 5, but they did. But I think that probably the majority of that was from earlier in the year. Coming in at number 3, the third band I listened to the most on YouTube Music this year was Dokken. This one kind of surprises me a little bit because my Dokken kick started a little bit later in the year. I can't remember at what point it was when it started, but it was definitely after the middle point of the year. It was like late summer, I think. Probably like in August sometime, maybe September, something like that. But I sure listened to a lot of Dokken because I had a lot of catching up to do. Revisiting all the stuff like Under Lock and Key and a lot of their 80s hits that I was familiar with back when I was younger, and then listened to a lot of the stuff forward from that, which I really was not familiar with, and great albums like Dysfunctional, and then Erase the Slate, and Long Way Home, Hell to Pay, all great albums. So I listened to a lot of Dokken, and they finished strong for me. They're my third most listened to artist on YouTube Music this year. All right, this is the one that really surprises me, actually, because I love this band. This is one of my favorite bands of all time. But every other band on this list is a band that I had like a big discovery kick of at some point this year. Genesis and Big Country, I discovered a lot of their music earlier in the year. Dokken, I was discovering a lot of their music later in the year and rediscovering, a lot of their music as well. I had no period like this because I am very familiar with every single album that this band put out, but some way, somehow, Collective Soul did finish number 2 for me. And I would have never thought that I listened to Collective Soul more than Bon Jovi or the Goo Goo Dolls or Kiss or any of my other top tier favorite bands, Metallica, Foo Fighters, whatever. But somehow they did. Somehow they finished second. I'm not sure how that happened, but I mean, I know I listened to this band a lot because I love them, but the fact that they made my top 10 or my top 5 when a lot of my other favorite bands didn't, I didn't realize I listened to that much more Collective Soul this year, but apparently I did. Collective Soul is my second most played band of the year, apparently. My most played band of the year was Rush. And much like Dawkins, this one was a strong finish because when did my Rush kick start? It started when I bought Roll the Bones at my favorite record store. Gosh, August maybe, September, something like that. I bought it on a whim, and I liked it. So I listened to Fly By Night, and I loved Fly By Night. And that was like when I really finally got Rush. Like, I always liked them, but that was when I just fell in love with them. And then I went and listened to all of their studio albums. Listened to all of them on YouTube Music. I've bought as many of them as I could since then. So it's no surprise to me that Rush did wind up being the top because I listened to a lot of Rush over the last couple of months. And apparently it was enough for them to be my 2023 most played band on my YouTube app. So congratulations to Rush, I guess. So I do have my top 5 songs as well. I'm going to go over them real quick. And the 2 of these we can actually blame my son on. I will tell you the 2 when we get there. Number 5 was Rescued by the Foo Fighters. I was a little surprised that song made it. I listened to it a lot when it dropped because I really loved it. I still love it. I mean, but Here We Are was a great album. But I'm almost kind of surprised that if a song from that album didn't top it like The Glass, I would have thought that I probably would have listened to The Glass actually a lot more by now than Rescued. But Rescued apparently was the 5th most played song for me in 2023. And it's a great song. Great comeback for the Foo Fighters. Holds on for the top 5. Number 4 was 7 Waves by Big Country. That was like the clincher song for me. I loved The Crossing, of course, when I bought the Buffalo Skinners. 7 Waves would have been the moment where the hook went straight into my mouth, I guess. And I was reeled in. I was hooked onto this great band. And I've listened to a lot of 7 Waves because it's a great song. So it does not surprise me one bit that 7 Waves made my top 5. Number 3, and this one we can blame on my son. It's the theme song to Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Yes, I do listen to Star Trek soundtrack music when the mood hits me, but I don't listen to it enough to make on my own accord to make my top 5. Believe me, I've always listened to a lot of Star Trek soundtrack music, and never has it ever cracked my top 5 in anything. Last couple years on YouTube, or back in the days whenever I had iTunes on my computer, and it had that like top 25 playlist of your 25 most played songs and whatnot. Isaac went through a phase this year. He's going to be a soundtrack kid when he grows up because he loves that kind of music. But he went through a phase this year where like we could not go anywhere in the car, even if it was just to the grocery store. We could not go to the grocery store without playing soundtrack music on our phones in the car. And Isaac has taken my love of Star Trek, he has taken his mom's love of Harry Potter, and he has found Star Wars on his own. And he seems to go back and forth like between the 3. He just like rotates them out every once in a while and will just be obsessed with one. So over the summer when he's in his Star Trek kick right now. And the last time that he was in a Star Trek kick was when we could not go anywhere without listening to the theme music in the car. So that's how Wrath of Khan theme song got to be my number 3 played song of the year. And we're not done with Star Trek theme music, actually. So number 2, and I guess the winner for me, because this one was totally my doing, my most played song of 2023 was Spinorama from the Primitives. Not surprised at all, because when I got into that and discovered it, I listened to the heck out of it. I mean, it's only It's not even a 3-minute long track. So listening to that on repeat over and over and over again, you can really rack up the plays. It's such a catchy song. I mean, it's one of those songs you just cannot listen to once. I love the melody. It's such a sweet melody from Tracy when she sings it. I love the lyrics. It's just everything about it. It's just like a perfect pop song, and that's how I feel about the Primitives. They're like a perfect pop band, and that song is so catchy. It's so addictive, and it was my most played song of the year. But the song that comes up number one is the theme song from Star Trek The Motion Picture, because that's the one song that my son had us play more than the Wrath of Khan soundtrack, and that wound up being my most played song of the year, thanks to my son. So there you have it. Those are my 5 most played songs of 2023 on my YouTube music app. My top 5 most listened to bands. This was just a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys listen to Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever. If you do, if you have anything that has like a end of the year recap or whatever, drop it in the comments below. Let me know what your 5 most played bands and songs are. I think this is a lot of fun on that Facebook page I'm part of, and I would like to see you guys, if you have anything to add, what you guys would say as well. So if you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future, and I will catch you next time.